Good morning. Good morning. Just giving everybody just a round of applause. You know what I mean? 82 games strong for everybody. Hanging out on this channel and this show all season long. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Sleeper Show. Monday, April 14th. That's it. Regular season is over, my people. That's it. No more screwing around. All right. People kind of gaggling. I don't even know the word for it. I really don't even know the word. Appreciate you guys hanging out. We're 8 a.m. on the dot, April 14th. Like I mentioned, 82 games in and regular season over. Postseason about to begin. Got a fun, exciting show for everybody today. I'm looking forward to hitting on a lot of different topics. Got a guest today as well that's coming up. 1 week from today, guys. 1 week from today. 1 week from today, I'll get back on coffee. I am 43 days in, I think. No coffee. Day 50 will be this Sunday, and then I won't even do Sunday. That's it. Lent is over. I got a free pass on Sunday. I'm going to wait. I'll wait till Monday. We'll have a cup of coffee together. All right, a quick quote for everybody here real quick. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the ones most responsive to change. It's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. Phenomenal quote right there. Really, really good quote right there. You got something that you want to share to the people? Please make sure to do so. I'll look to reading it. Give everyone a quick rundown of the show today. Here's what we got going on. I want to spend a quick second. Can we reflect for a quick second what the hell happened in the regular season? I mean, regular season went by so fast, and there were so many different storylines during the regular season, and really just kind of a very exciting regular season. It felt like it was 4 different years all in one, but I want to recap a little bit of the regular season, spend a little time on that. We got the schedule out for game 1. So we know the Lakers. By the way, I should have put this together. I forgot that all the teams that are part of the play-in tournament, basically 1-8 and 2-7 on the East and the West will play Sunday. That's the way the schedule goes. I should have already known that, which means the Lakers on Saturday, because they already locked up their seed, if you're a 3, 4, 5, or a 6 seed, everyone's playing on Saturday. So Lakers, we saw the schedule yesterday. They sent out communication, sent out the schedule. So Lakers Saturday night. So we know what the first game looks like, when that's going to be. We'll talk a little bit about the first game and some of the expectations there. New expectations. I want to kind of tell everybody what I mean by that. I think we all had expectations right after the trade. And I want to reflect a little bit on what that looked like. And now, what are your expectations? Because mine are not like they were when that trade went down. Believe it or not, when Luka first came to the Lakers, I kind of tapered my expectations for this season. Obviously, that's changed a little bit. Redick's first playoff run. Any concerns with JJ Redick? Of all the things that I feel like we can talk about as far as concerns go, this is a compliment to JJ Redick. JJ Redick's really not very high on that list. So something to keep in mind in that regard. I think I mentioned this last week. I mentioned this yesterday as well. Chris McGee, Geeter, Spectrum SportsNet's going to join the show at 8:30. We'll do a weekend recap. I got a couple things over the weekend. A couple of them are NBA games. I found myself watching the Masters yesterday, and then I'll give you guys a little bit of the backstory. Ran that half marathon on Saturday, so we'll talk a little bit about that. All right, let's take a look at the comments. We'll get the show started. Thank you very much for hanging out. Appreciate you guys being here. See if anybody threw any quotes in there. Now, I want to make sure we say this here. It's not Marathon Slee. It may be Marathon Slee. I'm not sure yet. But now I kind of think, all right, do we cross that one? Do we check that one off the list? It was half marathon. There's a wild difference between the two. See if I got any quotes on here that I could throw to everybody. Hope is what makes us strong. It is why we are here. It is what we fight with when all else is lost. Chris, appreciate you sharing that, brother. Thank you very much. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events Small minds discuss people. That's really, really good. That's a great quote right there. I got to walk around with that. That's phenomenal. All right. I think we are good to get the show started. Obviously, a lot of people here just saying good morning. A lot of people just saying hello, talking a little bit, the whole thing. So I appreciate everybody hanging out and welcoming everyone else into the chat. All right, let's get things started. 82 games in the books. That's it. Just like that. Regular season over. It was October 1st that the Lakers had a media day, if you guys remember. October 2nd, I started doing the show Monday through Friday on YouTube. So that went by pretty fast. Sometimes, it could just be what it is, but sometimes the grind of an NBA season, you feel it if you're working it. If, obviously you're trying to do all the post games, this, that, it just kind of comes with the territory. It's like by the time you get to the end of the regular season, you really feel it. I don't really feel anything. I feel good. I feel fine. Maybe, my schedule is obviously a lot different than it was in the past as well. So it's wildly different than what it was in the past. So maybe that has something to do with it as well. But let's recap this here for a quick second. Let's recap the regular season here real quick, because this is going to be the last time we probably talk about the 82-game grind that the Lakers were in, winning the 50 games. But I want to take everybody back here for a quick second, because it's so easy to just kind of forget what this team looked like October 1st, what the expectations were October 1st, and then where we're sitting at today. It was one of the wilder regular seasons that I've ever watched. Very, very entertaining. Wildly entertaining. New twists, I felt like, on a daily basis for the Lakers. If you kind of take the full 82 games, they got 6 preseason games, so 88 games that the Lakers had. You had a new coach who had no experience at all, and you really had no idea what to expect from him. Here are some of the highlights I'm going to walk you guys through here real quick. Season starts. Lakers start out the season 3-0, and you're like, oh, okay, hey, you know what? Maybe Lakers, maybe they're going to be pretty damn good. And then I think by the time they were 8 games in, they were 4-4. So, those expectations obviously kind of quieted down for a second. You guys remember the stretch early in the season? This was in late November. Remember when Lakers just started getting blown out by every team? They lost by 25 at Denver. They lost by 27 against the Phoenix Suns. The Denver game was actually at Crypto. They lost a game against Minnesota by 39. 29. And then they lost a game against Miami by 41. Lakers went through this stretch in, I want to call it, late November, early December, where you're like, did JJ just lose the team? And we're only 15 games into his coaching career, 20 games into his coaching career. Lakers get back on track. December 29th, D'Lo gets traded for Dorian Finney-Smith. I thought that was a wildly important moment. Anytime I'm at a Laker game, I like going to go listen to the opposing coaches talk as well. So after JJ's done, we listen to the opposing coach. I've heard of Michael Malone, Steve Kerr. Obviously Michael Malone, he was with still the coach of Denver. How many different coaches have mentioned Dorian Finney-Smith like, yeah, that was a big move. It's a big move for the Lakers. Okay, so D'Lo gets traded for Dorian Finney-Smith. You got the LA fires that happened in the first 10 days of January, something along those lines. 2 games just rescheduled. And we know the effect that had, obviously, on LA, JJ Redick, the team. A lot of guys had to leave their homes. JJ Redick lost his home, a rental home that he was in the Palisades. Okay, that happens. You almost kind of forget, oh, yeah, that was just a couple of months ago. February 1st comes along. Anthony Davis doesn't play in New York, not part of that road trip for the Lakers. He gets traded after that game for Luka Doncic. Luka's a Laker. Lakers go on a 20-4 stretch where it doesn't look like they can lose a game. Then they go to Boston and LeBron gets injured. He's out for 2 weeks. Then they go on a 3-7 stretch where then it looks like, all right, all that work that they had, that's going to, be wiped away. And then whatever the Lakers accomplished, it doesn't matter. Lakers are going to struggle. LeBron's not going to be healthy. They're going to lose so much ground in the seeding. And then the last couple of weeks happened where they kind of needed it here. At Memphis, home against Houston, New Orleans, OKC, Dallas, Houston again. Lakers end up with 50 wins, and they lock up that number 3 seed, and they actually close out the season here pretty strong. All of that in one season. Big-time trades, brand new coach, 2 games postponed. Like, go up and down the list of all the different things that happened with the Lakers this year. And for them to sit here when the dust settles, they got a game coming up on, obviously this Saturday, a home game coming up. They get to host the first round, and then we'll kind of take our chances from here. I thought it was important to just kind of look back real quick on the regular season and recap a little bit what exactly happened and see the Lakers in their position today. All right, I want to look at a couple of the comments here. I'm sure there are comments all over the place too of, that's right, Max Christie. Okay, here's some other things that I probably forgot. Max Christie wasn't getting PT until later on, and then Max Christie became a really, really nice piece for the Lakers. And then he became part of the piece that gets traded to the Dallas Mavericks. Vando coming back was huge. Lakers went, I think, all the way to about mid-January until Jared Vanderbilt finally came back and became a part of the Lakers. There's another piece of I like how, some people put it with Vando. Basically, the way people were describing Vando was he was kind of like another trade deadline acquisition. That's almost how you can use him because he missed so much time last year. Obviously missed a big portion of this year as well. But once he came back in mid-January, that kind of changed the scope of the Lakers as well. Let's see. Maybe there's some other things I'm missing here. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Amazing season. What a ride. What a ride. We need a documentary. I don't know about a documentary for the season, but I'm pretty sure somebody's working on a documentary for the Luka trade. I'll tell you that. All right, let's see. Get another one here. We got a clean slate from this point on. If we can lock down on defense, we're getting a parade. Yeah, for those that are jumping out that far, I got a difficult time looking past anything more than the Minnesota Timberwolves. Here's another storyline I forgot. Dan Hurley choosing UConn over LA. That's right. That was another big storyline that happened during the season. I was still, by the way, when all that was going on, I was still at ESPN. So, obviously that was going on in the summer. Okay, let's see another one here. JJ's offseason was crazy as well, sure. All right, so that gives us at least just kind of a little bit of all the different things that went on for the Lakers. LeBron and Bronny's storyline. Absolutely. I remember in the beginning of the season too, there was a little bit of, what game was it? There was a game that Bronny actually got some real playing time. And I'm like, is this what this year is going to be? Or in the beginning of the season when Lakers would be getting their asses kicked, and then the opposing crowd is cheering for Bronny to come in. I'm like, this is what the year is going to be. The season is going to be about the Lakers getting Bronny playing time on the road, where the opposing team not only gets to cheer, obviously, for their team winning, but then they also get to cheer. It's kind of like mocking that Bronny was going to get playing time in a blowout win. So I forgot that's another storyline that was part of it. So a lot of different things that happened this year, and I just wanted to kind of reflect on some of that stuff here real quick, and we'll keep things rolling. Okay, game one of the regular season, or game one of the playoffs, the postseason. So we got the schedule last night. The Lakers sent out, or NBA Communications, but I think it came from the Lakers, sent out the schedule for game ones in the first round of the NBA playoffs. Here is all the games that we have, and I'll share this with everybody so we can kind of all look at it together. I should have put the 2 and 2 together. That once the Lakers locked up that 3 seed, it was impossible for them to play on a Sunday because they got everybody playing on the Friday game. So most likely it was going to be Saturday games. Here's what the slate looks like for Saturday. All right, Saturday, April 19th, and then here's Sunday. 10 a.m., Bucks Pacers. 12:30, Denver and the Clippers. By the way, I think that's a really good series. I'm looking forward to watching that series. 3 o'clock, Pistons and the Knicks, and then 5:30 on ABC. All these other games are on ESPN, and then 5:30 on Saturday night, ABC, Timberwolves visit the Los Angeles Lakers. So the playoffs are going to start on Saturday night for the Lakers. So they will have got, for everybody that played on Friday, they will have got 1 full week off before the postseason starts. So obviously a lot of these guys didn't play in yesterday's game. I'm sure Saturday, Luka, LeBron, who didn't fly to Portland, I'm sure kicking back and getting their bodies ready. Lakers will, it sounds like from what JJ Redick said yesterday, I think they're going to practice on Tuesday, but kind of a light practice or something along those lines. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so they're going to start ramping it up, get ready for the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that's what we got here. Game's going to be on Saturday night at Crypto.com Arena. I'm going to try my best to hopefully be at that game. We'll see how things go. But that's when we know the playoffs are going to start. You got all the other games coming up. Lakers will be the final game on Saturday, and it should be a fun, phenomenal series. I think it's going to be a fun series, and we'll see what happens from there. Okay, I want to just kind of start setting some expectations for the series. Chris McGee, by the way, coming up at 8:30. Start trying to set up some expectations for this series. So I look at this series a couple different ways. Number one way, I think, to look at it, I remember kind of want to set this up properly, because over the last couple of months, my expectations for this team has definitely changed. I really do believe this. When they traded for Luka, I just thought it was more about the future. I thought this year was going to be tough to be competitive and make some real noise because, all right, you don't have enough size. You lost Anthony Davis. You lost another defender in Max Christie. You don't really have a lob threat. You don't have a go-to player that you could throw the ball to down low. How's your defense going to hang with some of these other teams when you don't have that size? How much are you going to hurt from a rebounding perspective? I didn't have much expectations for this season when they traded for Luka. I thought in my head, like, all right, listen, they're set up for the future. And even if they don't make real noise this year, that's okay. They're set up for the future. The offseason would be wildly critical for the Lakers to obviously start making some noise, go bring in the right personnel, and then figure it out from there. Now my expectations after watching the Lakers over these last couple of months, it's like, all right, well, you got a real legitimate shot getting to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, you at the absolute worst have to get through this first round against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And then it better be a long, drawn-out dogfight against the Houston Rockets. And then hopefully when the dust settles, you came out in a 12-round battle and you got probably most likely the Oklahoma City Thunder after that. Expectations when Luka first got here to what I think this team has proved. And I'm not telling you that they don't have flaws, because they do. And I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that they're not going to have some real battles in this series. And if they're fortunate enough in the next series, I'm not telling you that they won't get exposed in certain areas. But yeah, that expectation of just, well, you know, this summer is going to be where you really start making some noise. That changed a lot over these last couple of months. I think this team has proved that they can beat anybody in the Western Conference. That doesn't mean they can't lose to anybody in the West, but I think they have proved that they can be a real headache in the West, and that it should not be a shock if they're in the Western Conference Finals. Now, I'm going to preface all this by saying anything can happen in the playoffs. You know, if you all of a sudden momentum starts going the other way, or maybe the way you were gelling in that first with the way you were gelling before the playoffs doesn't kind of transfer over to the playoffs. Maybe guys struggle, personnel. Maybe JJ Redick is getting out coached. I mean, there's a lot of things that obviously can happen. But my expectations now, I feel like they have proved that they should be one of the last few teams standing in the Western Conference. I'll tell you what can happen. What can't happen, based off of what the Lakers just were able to do and grabbing that number 3 seed, they're kind of in a there's no scenario out there where they lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves and everyone would be like, oh, well, that's okay. That's all right. You know what? in the offseason, they're going to bounce back and everything will be okay. I think at the absolute minimum now, you got to get out of this first round. And I think most people would say, nah, there's much more that they should accomplish. Sure, but you got to get out of the first round first. And I spent a little time yesterday talking about the series against the Timberwolves. We're going to do it all week. I'm working on getting Alan Horton on Wednesday. He covers the Minnesota Timberwolves, or he does actually the radio play-by-play. Good dude. The guy's going to know the Minnesota Timberwolves inside and out. But you have at least created an expectation where there really is no scenario where you're not in the second round against the Houston Rockets, and then we'll kind of take our chances from there. And I'm not telling you this is going to be an easy series, but my expectations from when Luka got traded to the Lakers to where we're sitting today, yeah, those expectations got upped. And the expectations on Luka alone in his first playoff run with the Lakers is now kind of at a completely another level. And you could kind of start adding all these other elements into it, but it's going to definitely be different than it was from when it first started. Okay, let's take a look at some of these comments here, and then we'll go from there. All right, let's see what we got here. Q starts things off. Lakers will lose in the first round. Thank you, Q. I appreciate your commentary here. And Q also goes with the Luka is not efficient. Thank you as well. You have added tremendously to this conversation. Set up for now and the future. Good thing about Luka, if he comes out firing in the first half, so that it'll help with the rust as long as he's hitting his shot. Yeah, last 5 games for Luka was not the Luka that we were watching over the first couple of months. Luka was so much better over this last stretch of games. Wildly better over these last stretch of games. So, honestly, I think even for Luka now, my expectation for him, I feel like he kind of already got through everything he needed to get through. He needed to kind of put himself in a position where the shock of getting traded to the Lakers, fitting in with this team, stylistically, how is everybody going to play, understand people's characteristics and understand their strengths and weaknesses and everything else. But now as we sit here, I don't know. That doesn't seem to be an issue anymore for me when I'm talking about Luka. With LeBron, anything is possible. Yeah, I don't even know if I've even kind of given LeBron enough credit of what he's been able to do over the course of this last, I don't know, you put it as long as you want. 2 months or so, how he's just adjusted his game. No problem. In his 22nd year in the NBA, still doing what he's doing. I do agree. With LeBron, anything's possible. But the problem is, if you're depending just on LeBron or you're depending on, if you say with Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves, well, they got Ant, they'll be fine. No. You need guys. Everybody, especially in the play, it's got to be more than one player. All right, Q. I'm a Clippers fan. I'm going to hold on to this. I want to talk about that series a little bit later. So we'll get into that series a little bit later of Clippers and actually think it's going to be a really good series between Clippers and Denver. All right, let's see what else we have here. Gave Clippers credit for yesterday, though. You should. Clippers are playing good ball. I mean, I still don't understand how they're going to make a real run, but they're playing good ball. Minimum Western Conference Finals. Okay, that's the expectations now. Yeah, the only thing that I would say to that, and I do believe that there is a path for the Lakers. There is a path. I think here's kind of the beauty for the Lakers. You stayed out of that. If you wanted to avoid the Warriors in the first round, you avoided them. If you wanted to avoid Oklahoma City in the second round, you avoided them. You got a path here. And I'm not telling you that these are going to be easy matchups, but I would tell you if a month ago I'd have told, or no, a couple weeks ago, a week ago, I would have told you, hey, you don't have to play the Warriors in the first round, and you also don't have to play OKC in the second round. I think a lot of Laker fans would be like, yeah, sign me up for that. Whatever the result is, whatever it would look like, whoever you are playing, Minnesota in the first round and then potentially Houston in the second round. All right, so a lot of people got here expectations, Western Conference Finals. All right, let's see what else we got here. Clippers, Nuggets, OKC on the same bracket. Right. I mean, technically you could get Golden State. You just get them in the second round. The 8 and 9 game stretch where AD went down and Bron steadied the ship, saved the season, but will go under the radar, capped off with a win at Madison Square Garden. It's a great point. Great point as we were kind of reflecting on the entire regular season. All right, let me look at a couple more here, and then I want to talk JJ Redick here for a quick second. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's be honest. Anything less than the title will feel disappointing. I disagree with that. I know that comes with the Laker territory. If you don't win a championship, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I understand that. But I'm also realistic. So there are also realistic expectations. And I think realistic right now is that the Lakers can hang with any team, but I also know they're not the favorite to go win an NBA championship. I think these comments, are more fair when your squad or there's only 2 or 3 teams that are expected to win a championship. And listen, maybe that series, that 2-game set against the Oklahoma City Thunder also kind of changed the mind of people, but that just seems so far away right now as far as they still got Minnesota to worry about and all these other teams to worry about before they get there. I'm not there mentally. Okay, I want to give a quick shout out here. I got more of these comments that I want to get into, so we're going to do that in just a second. Let me give a shout out here to our partner. Very loyal partner to the show. Very appreciative of having them a part of the show. If you don't know about Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm yet, that means you have not been watching or listening to me over the last few months or so. Proud partner of the Sliwa Show. Was with me when I was over at 710 ESPN. Known him for about 5 years. He is an injury attorney, one of the best in all of California. He can help anybody who's in the state of California, he can help. If you or someone close to you has been seriously injured or is dealing with the loss of a loved one, you should find out what legal options you have, you deserve, and have the right legal team. Got to have the right, obviously, legal team backing you. When it comes to holding insurance companies accountable and maximizing case results, go to my guy, Brad Wallace, and his legal team. I know it's probably a very intimidating and daunting process to have to deal with something like this in this field. So get an expert that can help you. I can make a personal introduction. We created a URL, wallacewins.com/Sliwa, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. If you want to learn more, get a free consultation. He's the best in the business, and I'd be happy to make an introduction. I'm very appreciative that he is a partner of this channel. So shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm. I'm sure he's just excited as his playoff run as all the other listeners that are on here. Okay, a few more comments. I'm going to wait on the JJ Redick stuff. I'll wait on that for just a second. I want to read a couple of the comments, and then I know Chris McGee is going to join us. But for JJ Redick, it's going to be his first playoff run, and I'll save that for when Geeter gets here about any concerns of having him there. Got to welcome in a new member here. Thank you, Vegas Dev. Thank you for being a member. I appreciate that very much. MVP member. It's just $3 a month. Exclusive, by the way. We do exclusive content on Fridays for members. And also, it's just a great way to support the channel. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here. Wallace time, boys. All right, phenomenal. When we get in the Wallace statue, it's you guys. Look, supporting the love for our partners here. Slay would have been 53 wins. Or should have been 53 wins. Number 2 seed, a.k.a. Brooklyn, Utah, Dallas. Here's the only reason why I'm not going to, harp on that stuff too much. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it happens. It happens throughout the season all the time. I mean, let me throw a game that the Lakers should have lost and they won. Shouldn't they have lost that Indiana Pacers game where they blew that lead at the end, and then all of a sudden, LeBron gets the tip in after Luka misses. Like, I think some of this stuff just happens. I really am not too big of a fan of kind of looking back. There's games you probably should have won, and there's games you should have lost that you ended up winning. So I think that stuff's going to happen. I actually think being the number 3 seed for the Lakers is a phenomenal place for them to be at. But I was mentioning the new member. If you want to be a member, I put a link in the description there. Very, very easy to be a member. Like I mentioned, $3 a month. You can click on that link and you can join to be a member if you want to support the channel. And shout out again to our newest member here, Vegas Dev. Okay, a few more comments here. Lakers only team taking Celtics in 7. I was mentioning this. It's kind of funny. I'm always curious. I'm like, do Laker fans get annoyed when I say this? But it's how I feel, so I gotta say it. Everything's running through the Celtics. I still keep Boston as kind of the. If you said right now, who you think's got the highest odds to win it all, I'm taking Boston. First off, the path that they get to go down the Eastern Conference is much easier. Cleveland, were you ever really, really sold on Cleveland? I think I was to an extent, but at the same time, I paused with Cleveland just because, all right, let's go make it happen in the playoffs so people can actually see what you are. And then they went through the stretch where they were, I want to say 6-6 over the final 12 games or something along those lines. They played 500 basketball towards that final stretch. Celtics had a super easy run to the finals last year. They may have, but they're also a really good team. They have a really good team. I mean, the construction of that roster is a very, very good team. Now, I think some things to be optimistic about. Lakers beat them here in SoCal, in LA. And then they put up a damn good fight in Boston where before Bron got injured, I think, what was it? I think Lakers were down 4, something along those lines in the final few minutes. So I think that also has a lot to do with it as well. All right, let me read a couple more here. You can't have doubts about Bron's health and not have doubts about Kawhi. Yeah, I'm going to go with what JJ said and everybody else after their game against Houston. Bron's fine, so I'm going to roll with that. Plus, by the way, he gets a week off. So we'll take our chances in regards to that. All right, we got our guest. He's ready to go. He's ready to go right now as we sit here.
AirPods.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. Sounds good. What's up, brother?
Remember? I mean, we had some problems last time.
Oh, no.
Yeah. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, that's long ago.
Icons.
If you've known, as I sit here, and there are plenty of times where I'm also, pulling some different strings. It is the worst feeling in the world is when my audio just randomly goes out. It's
not a great feeling.
Not the best feeling.
I agree. But you know what is a great feeling? Not being in the plane.
Okay, and I think Geeter, if I'm correct here, I think you're the one that said, what was it? I think you said this is the first time they're hosting a first round matchup. 2012?
So I did get a little reaction social media a couple weeks back when I started talking about it, and I never wrote anyone back, but 2012 was because I was right. 2012 was the last time they've hosted a series at Staples or Crypto. Okay. Now Crypto. 2020, we had the number 1 seed, but we were in the bubble.
Yeah, but I think that was part of your point.
That was my point. Yeah. First time outside of the bubble we're hosting since before our network started.
Right.
We've been in a network for 13 years. We have yet to host one starting at Crypto or Staples.
I appreciate that flex of not even responding to those. I have time for that. I mean, we're going to get into the semantics here. The whole point of what you were saying was 2020, they weren't here.
You got to pick your battles these days. It's just, I'm not a big Twitter guy. I do use it to read, but I just was like, do I need to write this person back and be like, no, actually, just read the tweet again and you'll get it. You just got Google.
No, I understood what you meant. I thought, but that actually, when you did say that, it did kind of hit me across the face. I'm like, oh my God, they have literally just to go that long from hosting a first round matchup. And obviously we don't
I would imagine, God, you've known me a long time, that you're probably happy with my personal growth because the younger Chris McGee would have fired right back, but I don't do that anymore.
Just curse at everybody. Put out a video. Pretending that it's for everybody. Brother, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it as always.
Woo. We've had a lot of years here, buddy, where we've been scratching and clawing, right?
Okay, so dust settles. 50-game
Here we are.
season.
Yeah.
Number 3 in the West. I was trying to reflect a little bit on the year. Didn't it feel like there was 3 seasons within this one year?
Man, that's such a great point.
What the hell happened this year?
For me, it was like up until probably December 9th, right? You had the Dorian Finney-Smith trade in there. Great start. AR misses a few games, a little bumpy road. And then it all started kind of coming together December 9th or so. That was kind of, to me, season 2. Max into the starting lineup. AD, Doe joining the team. And then you really – it's just funny because I think a lot of – and this is no knock, but a ton of Laker fans have rejoined, and got excited with Luka, and rightfully so. And then there are those that live it all the time with us. And that team from December 9th all the way to that trade, January 31st, whatever it was I think 3rd or 4th best record in the NBA. So I was, James and I talked about this a lot on air. I was really getting behind that team, and I had a really strong belief. And then the trade happens. Here comes part 3 of the season. You're right. And it's a completely different style that they have to pivot to and play, and absolutely remarkable how that just kept going. That's why I give JJ a lot of credit in the staff. I mean, for a rookie head coach to literally have to change the way your team plays on the fly and be successful is not easy to do. I mean, they went from shooting 29th, 28th in terms of 3-point attempts, 30th, like they were always towards the bottom, to moving that way up. Luka handling the ball dominantly and LeBron going off ball. I mean, just AR, everyone was worried about AR. Remember, you and I talked about it, when he first came, when Luka first came to the team, is Austin going to come off the bench? How's he going to get his? He's actually going to get more. He's going to average more playing alongside LeBron and Luka. It just has been incredible transformation. And it's been a lot of fun. And, I said this on air yesterday. If you have the top 5 record in the NBA, especially this year, and you finish 3rd in the West, and I don't know if there's ever been a deeper West, and I'm sure we've all said that over the years, but 50 wins and finish 3rd, top 5 record in the NBA, you had a hell of a year. You had a hell of a year, a great year of an NBA season. Yes, there were some terrible losses along the way, but that happens in 82 games. But you can enjoy that for a moment and be really proud of that and celebrate it, because I think you should. And now it's time to go.
So it's funny. Somebody was mentioning, so I was kind of trying to reflect on the season. And like you said, all these different things that happened. I had forgot Dan Hurley offered the Lakers coaching gig. Okay. Okay.
That wouldn't have worked.
Doesn't that seem like that was 4 years ago? Okay. So
I never wanted that to happen, and I'm so glad it's JJ.
So you had Dan Hurley in that. You had when they drafted Bronny and the attention that was going towards that early on in the season. Yep. You mentioned, I thought the Dorian Finney-Smith trade, you're right. I thought that was it's funny listening to other coaches when you're at crypto, and, we'll get a chance to hear from JJ, and then you go listen to some of the other coaches where they all kind of quietly mention hey, that was a really, really good move from Rob Pelinka to go get Dorian Finney-Smith. Somebody had mentioned to me, Vando coming back. Just, hey, he's back. But all these kind of get lost in the storyline sometimes because there were so many different things that were happening. There wasn't just one moment. It was 10 different things that happened either before the season started or after the season, or obviously during the season, that had a real impact on the 50 wins.
And by the way, if you realize if Vando's healthy last year, they're not the 7th seed. Or they're probably beating Denver. Remember, they led in every single game, probably 140 of the 160 something minutes. You forget so glad you brought that up. The Dorian Finney-Smith trade and Vando coming back and Gabe being healthy, all kind of at the perfect time.
Yeah.
So huge for this team. And I remember friends and people when the Dorian Finney-Smith D'Lo trade went down. D'Lo's a very popular player here. We drafted him. He came back. He had that incredible 236 threes. And, you always felt like he was ours and you rooted for him.
Yeah.
But, it came with challenges too, defensively and in the playoffs. And, I give him a lot of credit. I think he worked hard on that end, and I think he was, he took coming off the bench well. He did everything he could.
I love him in Brooklyn.
Yeah, me too. Exactly. The Dorian Finney-Smith trade, if I'm just a Laker fan and basketball-wise, it changed how it changed everything. And I remember people saying to me, like, but what are we going to do about the scoring? And I said, don't worry about the scoring. Do not worry about the scoring. It's fit, and it's what he's able to do, and it's a mentality that he brings, the ability that we can play with him small. He can fit into with AD. You see it now. He's part of that unbelievable small lineup that we can go with the starting five, but get Jackson out and put Dorian in if you want to do that at the end of the game. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith, that was a huge, huge trade. That it's not underrated in NBA circles, but we don't talk about it a lot because of the Luka trade. So you're absolutely right. And then Doe, I mean, obviously Vando coming back and Gabe playing like he has, and even like a pickup like Goodwin, who Goody's been, fits right in. And, by the way, you and I didn't even mention this. Talk about craziness. A part of that whole Luka deal. Oh, by the way, we traded for Mark Williams, and then that didn't happen. And then Dalton's got to come back. I mean, so there's been so many things that's gone on with this team throughout one season, and here we are.
2 games rescheduled. LA fires. I mean, it's literally, you go down the list. This is like, you got so many different things. You mentioned something, and I had it. I wanted to get your opinion on it. You mentioned JJ as a rookie. Obviously a rookie coach. Man, a lot of times you go into playoffs, and this is the first run that these guys are going to get together, and you kind of start looking. And I think it's fair to say that anytime you're going into a playoff matchup and your head coach has not been a head coach in the playoffs, you would think those are one of the things that stand out. Like, hey, are you concerned here? Does he lack of experience, this, that? How come that doesn't even cross my mind? How come it doesn't? And by the way, you never know what can happen. I've heard people say, people who've been in front offices before, the regular season and the postseason, wildly different. The chess pieces are completely different. So whatever success you had in the regular season doesn't mean you're guaranteed to also have that success. But doesn't it just seem like whatever hurdle that gets thrown at JJ, I feel like, let's put it this way, it won't be a lack of, I'm grinding to try to figure out what the solution is, and that kind of gives me some comfort.
I think you bring up such a great point. It's funny when I think of JJ and I talk about the Lakers, even though I just brought up him being a rookie coach. I only bring up a rookie coach sometimes because I'm just so impressed, but I'm with you. I don't think about it ever. He's just a coach because of how impressive he is. But we saw Darvin get to the Western Conference Finals in his first year and make great moves against Steve Kerr and all that stuff. So for me, like, it's about, like, you have LeBron, you have Luka, you now have AR, Rui's been there, Vando, like guys that have been in battles. LeBron has seen everything in this game. So experience matters. But you look at our coaching staff, who's alongside JJ? Those guys have been there before. Scotty Brooks, Nate McMillan, his staff, like, that's why when you are a young coach, and I've talked to young coaches about this. I've talked to JB Bickerstaff. I talked to Luka a ton about it. When you are a young coach, you need to have your pillars, your older veteran guys, because you will make mistakes. You will have to run things off them. And those veteran coaches, Fred Vogel had guys with him, remember? He had Jay Kidd. He had why is it my mind is old vet Memphis, Frank's assistant. Anyway,
I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
It'll come to us. Like you, I know. Anyway, you have to have those guys. Steve Kerr, I'll never forget when Steve got the job at Golden State, and he's putting together his staff, and it's like he had a young guy like Luke coming in, like just out of the league, connect with Draymond, be Draymond's guy. I'm bringing in my best friend, Bruce Frazier, who has been around this game for a long, long time. That's going to be Steph's guy. I'm going to bring in Ron Adams. That's my coach that's been in this league for 30 plus years. That's going to tell me when I'm full of, you know what. I'm going to have Alvin Gentry. who's been in the trenches as a head coach, who's going to be my office. You know what I mean? Like you build. JJ did and Rob Pelinka and Kurt, they did a masterful job at putting together the staff. So I don't know. Like it doesn't even faze me. You're right. Like I don't think about that right now. JJ is going to be dialed. He just has impressed me with how he speaks to the media, how he prepares every day, how a lot like Steve, by the way, who won it from the jump, he's ready for this moment because he's been in it a lot of different ways and he studied it and he knows it and he was built for it. So when he gets in this moment, JJ's going to be prepared. The men will be prepared. The team will be prepared. The matchups will work as they go, and you will make your changes, and teams will counter and all that stuff. And it's going to come down to execution and who plays better. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, it's funny. I found myself yesterday. I'm curious to get your thoughts on the matchup, but I found myself yesterday. Clippers are playing the Warriors, right? So that's going on, and they go overtime, and we're still don't know who the Lakers are going to play in the first round. I'm really excited to see the Lakers Timberwolves. I'm really excited that this is the matchup. And I know a lot of people probably want to see Steph and Golden State. I think for the Lakers to face a team with a lot less experience and a lot less championship pedigree, I think will, at least for the first round, work a little bit to the Lakers' advantage. What do you make of the actual matchup? What do you make of the matchup between the two teams?
Well, can I first just tell you about yesterday from our end?
Yeah.
Because for a week, 2 weeks, you're talking about who do you want to play?
Sure.
And I'm looking at Denver, Clippers, Warriors, T-Wolves, Memphis. And I'm like, oh, there's not one easy draw there. And the whole time I was kind of saying, well, if I could handpick, it'd be Memphis, and here's why. But we can't handpick. So whatever goes your way, goes your way. So yesterday, Lakers are playing the Blazers. And for the first time in our 13 years, that game did not mean
nothing.
A thing.
Nothing.
I'm happy guys got to play. We had it. I have a picture that I can send you. I'll text you. It's on the big screen. You know our conference room.
Yeah.
But next to it on the big screen, because there's two big screens together. It's always Lakers. Clippers, Warriors, Lakers, Blazers. I mean, Clipper game on my TV. Oh, yeah, it was there. And then to the left with the sound on, the Masters.
Oh yeah, I was gonna just say I don't even know if I would have had the Lakers game on my phone.
So
I would have had it with no volume.
You know Ryan Trainer and B More, our producers. What's so funny is we finally got it all to work. And by the way, my daughter Luka is playing a volleyball game in Salt Lake City. That's going on my iPad. I got a four dinger going on. Okay. And I said to Ryan at one point, because we always got to mess with the TVs and the sound and is it right? I'm like, do we dare put the Masters there and move the Lakers to? No, we can't. Hold on. Let's just keep it as it is. So it was so fun because coming down the stretch of that Warrior game, we're on air for the post game.
Yeah.
And most fans are probably watching the Warrior Clip game, but there may be some watching us. So we're just giving live updates of what's going on during our show. And it was super fun.
How much time was left when you guys started?
I want to say 3-2 because the Warriors went up 4. A couple minutes in the regulation,
and then they go to OT.
Yeah, like Rory missed. Like Justin Rose hit that putt on 18 while we're on air. So we're taking everyone
goes in the water,
and Rory goes in the water. So we're taking everyone through both those because I'm asking James a question. He's seeing the Masters over my shoulder.
Oh, this is great.
And he just basically like didn't hear what I said. He goes, Rory just so it's funny. We were just so new. I just want to say like we were kind of like breaking it all down in live time. And then JJ wasn't talking either. So remember, we don't have Luka to talk. We don't have AR to talk. We don't have LeBron to talk. Fortunately, Bronny talks. So we had at least one sound to throw to. JJ's waiting for the same thing we are, for that game to end before he comes and addresses the media. So we're kind of like, who do you want to play?
Could you have at that point said, guys, we want to go back to our Friday post-game show?
Yeah.
And then just aired clips.
I would love
your analysis.
Yeah.
Friday's post game.
By
the way, that's right. They were also waiting too. They don't really want to address anything until they know.
So the Clippers win, and it's weird. Trudell and I were texting about this. It wasn't like I was rooting. I was like, I didn't know what my heart wanted in the moment because I don't know. There's this like, oh my God, playing Steph. I got Stevie in town. I got Steph, Draymond,
Jimmy
Butler. This is going to be exactly what the NBA wants. This is going to be a Sunday 12:30 game. Book it, and this is going to be absolutely nuts. But I'm scared. Mm-hmm. But I'm not. I'm uncomfortable no matter who we get. And then all of a sudden it's the T-Wolves. And to get to your original question, you start to sink into that. We start to talk about that, and I love what James and Fish said. Like, you don't wish for, like, players just listen. We earned the 3 seed. We didn't jockey for anything. It's the best we could get, and we got it. So whomever we play, everyone can spin it like, oh, that's the team they want to play. Be careful what you wish for. Make no mistake about it. Minnesota is a tough out.
Sure.
Western Conference Finals last year. Obviously, Cat is gone. They're 17-4 down the stretch. Ant scored 46 last night. Get out of the play-in a few nights ago. They were down and they put up a 52-point third quarter. So this team is capable. The bench, I always look at a bench matchup because it's going to go down to 8-9 guys. And I look at their bench with Alexander, DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, Clark.
Great bench.
That's a good bench. That's a physical bench, and that's a bench that could light you up. Now you got to look at, is the key to this game, look, Gobert had 19 and 18 last night. Is Gobert a factor in this series? If he is, then it's going Minnesota's way. If it's like Minnesota and Dallas last year in the Western Conference Finals, it's Kyrie and it's Luka having their way and picking on and getting the Gobert matchup. So that's the thing. Like, who's going to win the matchups? We got to get Gobert off the floor, and you only do that by hunting him and putting him in pick and rolls and getting Luka switched on him, and then you're spreading things out. It's a lot like they did to Zubac that one time they played when Zoo was having a great game, but Luka kept hunting him and trying to make him work on both ends. So it's Jaden McDaniels is a great defender. Like, they're long, they can switch, they're tough. I do think if you're looking Warriors, T-Wolves, like the one thing Fish said, like they are, and this is no knock on anyone, the hardest team to guard are the Warriors because of the way they make you work and because of that guy, Steph Curry, and they never stop. Do you remember a couple of years ago when we played them? You're exhausted after that series. You never stop. And the Draymond up. So I just feel like Minnesota is going to be a really good matchup for both. I just think it's going to be an unbelievable series, but they're a great team. And I just think it's going to be a real physical series. I think it's going to be a real physical series. And they're going to try to get into Luka and McDaniels. Those guys are going to, they're going to try to guard one-on-one, kind of try to take a page out of Boston's book, OKC's book, and Lakers have to do a good job of getting them in trouble situations.
Yeah, I think, it's funny. You said you weren't really kind of rooting. I was rooting for the Clippers yesterday. I
cheered for them at one point. I don't know what happened there. Why? I didn't want Warriors Lakers first round because I want them both to keep going.
Okay, I'm with you. I didn't want to see that because I did think that, listen, that just you got to respect the Warriors and what they've accomplished in championship pedigree. It's like, do you really need that in the first round? Can you get something different? And that's not even a knock on Minnesota. It's just I kind of know already exactly what I'm going to get with the Golden State Warriors.
We know those 7 games. We know what's happening. Yeah,
we know what's happening. Okay, the fact that Anthony Davis also isn't a part of the Lakers, that was the big advantage the Lakers had against the Warriors. That obviously is gone.
We had a huge advantage. You're right, Alan. We always beat them with AD.
They like playing. They like Warriors. They're small ball. That's kind of their foundation. And I think we would prefer to go small ball against a little bit more of a typical traditional team. And that's kind of what Minnesota is. They're a little bit more traditional when it comes to that. I mean, I still think they're going to be a lot of times where Gobert's on the bench and it's Naz Reid, Julius Randle, and Anthony Edwards, and fill out the rest of the roster. I think they'll change from that perspective. But it's also something kind of fresh and new that I think, like even looking at Denver Clippers in the first round, interesting
series.
If it's hypothetically, if Golden State wins their first, play-in, Houston Warriors in the first round, interesting. Like I actually think it's kind of some new blood across the board in the West that they're not your typical matchups.
I mean, OKC Clippers would be a crazy second round series, or Denver. Okay, what if Warriors lose first first playing game to Memphis. I don't think they're going to. All of a sudden, they're the 8th seed, and they're playing OKC.
Sure.
Like, I don't know how any of those series goes. Like, Rockets, Warriors, incredible series. So, for me, I think, like, the first round of the NBA playoffs is going to be as good as we've ever seen it. And I keep going back to this, Alan, because I totally agree with everything you said there. Like, I was kind of ready for Minnesota Lakers because we haven't seen it since 2004. You know, it's like you said, this is it. Like, you know the teams, let's go. I think we know how the Warriors series would have just been. We've seen it. It's an amazing game. I think the rest of the NBA would have absolutely loved it. But the two fan bases, it would have been hell for 2 weeks. It would have been amazing if you win it. But I feel like for the first time in a long time, because in 22, when we made the run, 23 when we made the run, right, to the Western Conference Finals, that was 23. That was kind of unexpected, and we were really in the moment. And we had that huge run at the end of the season. We had the trades at the deadline to get everyone over here. But going into the playoffs, like not having to be in that play-in game is so big. You get a week off for LeBron and Luka and everyone to rest. But also, like, we're going in for the first time in a long time, in my opinion, saying we have a chance. That doesn't mean you get out of the first round. Sure. That's the beauty of what the Western Conference looks like. We're not in the East. You basically can't book that first round. The first round is going to be an absolute battle. But if you get through it and you're in that Final Four in the West, you have a real shot. And I think you and I both believe this for the first time in a long time. We have a shot just like anybody else, a legit one. And but just like the NFL playoffs, just like you saw with baseball last year, when your Pods are up 2-1 on the Dodgers, like that could go any way. And the Dodgers don't have that Freddie Freeman moment. They don't have the Mookie Betts moment. They don't win the series. Like, it could have been done a month before. Like, that's playoffs, man. And that's what's so fun about this. Like, win or lose, the Lakers are here. And they've earned it, and they put themselves in position. Man, like, let's go. I cannot wait for Saturday. I actually thought the game would be Sunday.
I thought it was too. And then I kind of was putting the pieces together. I'm like, all right, well, maybe because of all the playing stuff, all the teams that were like solidified. Are you where are you guys on Saturday? There?
So
studio?
I think Allie's going to do that game because it's a national game. It's an ABC game. So we're going to do pre and post only.
That's right.
And what do we know when game 2 is? I haven't even looked. I got up this morning. I didn't even look. So Tuesday?
I don't think they showed yet.
They didn't show it last night.
I just saw game 1. That's it.
So it'll be Monday or Tuesday, right? Because we're Saturday. James and I will be down at the arena for that one.
Okay.
So we'll be down doing the show from there because it'll be our game too. So remember, when it's on those weekend national games in round 1. Yeah. But when it's round 1, we'll get the games during the week also. So it'll be on TNT, ESPN, but it'll also be on Spectrum. So that round 1 is super cool because we have the game too.
Okay, final one I want to ask you here, and I'm very curious. You've been around Lakers basketball for a long time. Let me just set the stage here. Saturday night at Crypto, ABC game like we mentioned, pre and post with you guys. Luka's first playoff game as a Los Angeles Laker.
Yeah.
Still sounds very weird to say.
I know.
We have seen, some of the greatest players to ever play the game. When things are rolling in a playoff game and, you just have certain guys that the moment doesn't mean anything to them. The moment it's like, yeah, this is what I do. What's Saturday night going to be like? Just kind of the feeling you think at Crypto. I know it's early. I know it's early in the playoffs. I know, but it's the first time we're seeing Luka Doncic as a Los Angeles Laker in a playoff game. If he's having one of those nights, if he's going up, like what? Just your what you think that vibe would be like?
It'll be like It'll be like when Kobe was here. It'll be like when Magic was playing. It'll be like Kobe Shaq, Kobe Powell. It'll be like that. I mean, we know what we're getting from LeBron. We've seen that playoff activation before. Luka, I think about all the times we've seen Luka in a Dallas Mavericks uniform have absolutely insane NBA playoff moments from the time he was 19 years old, against the Clippers, against the Phoenix Suns,
against
the Minnesota Timberwolves. time and time again, these unbelievable outer body moments in a Dallas uniform. Remember, this is a guy that went to Real Madrid at 13 years old. 13 years old, signed a pro contract. At 16, he was literally playing in the league. He was playing in the Euro, the best league. At 17, he's teaming up with Goran Dragic to win Eurobasket 2017. 2017. He was winning that at 17 years old. He then won the Euro League with Real Madrid and then came to the NBA. He was 18 years old. Like, this guy's had moments, like time and time again. And I've looked at old clips. I'm doing a sit-down interview with him finally, and I'm really, really excited about it. And
phenomenal.
I was looking at these old clips, and Alan, it's what we've been watching in that Dallas game and what we've seen throughout the year when he's been with us, when he gets on those heaters and he's hitting the high rainbow threes. He was doing that at 17 years old, man, on the biggest stage in Europe, and 18 years old. And it just continued through his NBA career. It's been insane. So when that happens in a Laker uniform at our arena, it's going to feel like, you know what? It's going to feel like it felt when you and I were growing up. And all these Laker fans that, didn't get to see the Magic days, but maybe saw the Kobe Powell days, didn't see the Kobe Shaq days, whatever. Like, that's why I want it to happen. I want it to happen so my kids can see it. I want them to be able to see like what it's like when that place gets going, because I've said it so many times. And that's why I always was adamant about 2020. Like, we won the championship. And when people say, well, oh, you played in the bubble, and no. We got robbed. You were never beating us in LA because you've never seen the best. You've never seen LA go. I mean, you have, but when it goes, when you're winning, there's nowhere like it. When you're winning here and going from series to series, and you're having stars, Freddie Freeman hit a walk-off grand slam. You're having if AD's shot was at Staples instead of in the bubble, like
sure,
it's Robert Ory's. If that shot happened at Staples, it's Robert Ory's shot because of what would have that crowd. The lob to Shaq, Kobe to go up 6 and 45 seconds left against Portland in 2000. Like, all those moments, the more the playoffs go on, the more chance you have at having those moments. That'll be with us absolutely for the next 20 years. That will be played on our network and across the board.
It'll be phenomenal, buddy. I can't.
We just got to win.
Wait,
we just got to keep going.
Wait, here's the beauty.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
But the beauty is, I think once this series starts, then it's kind of all right. It's just back to basketball then. Yeah. And I'll take my chances with what this team has been able to do and kind of their makeup and their pedigree and the way they can stylistically, they can kind of play multiple different styles. Where a lot of teams, it's like they're going to win one way. I don't think the Lakers have to depend on one way of winning. So it's going to be, I think Saturday night, the reason why I want to kind of get for you to set it up on Saturday. Saturday is the first, it's literally a chapter of a generational talent that for the first time gets to play a playoff game for the Lakers. And then after that, everything else will just go from there. But
you just said it's a new era, man. It's a new era. And like, there's a possibility he's going to be in this uniform for a long time. And it literally starts Saturday. The stars are going to be out. The vibe is going to be off the hook. It's going to be just different than a Tuesday in March or a Saturday in February. It just is. It's going to be another level.
All right, but
will I see you down there at all?
Yes, you should be.
Game 2, maybe.
I still got to figure out. Yeah, we're working on it. I still got to figure out credentialing and everything else.
Yeah.
But, should be. You're the first. You're a 3-timer on the pod. I appreciate you. You haven't had a.
By the way,
you have to have
that's an accolade that I do not take lightly.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate
that. That is a moment.
I will say now that I just realized when I'm bowing, it's just all head. So I'm not going to do that anytime.
By the way, it's handsome though. Handsome man.
I'll bow like this.
I appreciate you, brother. Let's get it done.
Yes, sir.
How about this?
Yeah.
If they win, if they win the series.
Okay.
I come on for 4 times. Can we go? We'll go 4. We're breaking down the Warriors Rockets.
Okay. How about okay. So win the series, and then the very next day, it's already reserved for you.
It's reserved.
Okay. Now I'll text you. Now this could be one of those.
Got to get big game. That's on our wish list, right? We got to pluck that.
We'll make it happen.
Pluck that apple. All right, buddy. You're the best, bud.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon. All
Good
right,
luck.
man.
Enjoy the series.
Thank you, buddy.
Later, man.
All right, that's Geeter right there, Chris McGee. I could shoot the shit with that guy for 4 hours and not be annoyed. I just love that guy. He's just a good dude. He's a good guy. Very casual conversation too. All right, that was fun. I'm gonna wait. I got a couple other things that I was gonna get to. Redick's first pop. We could do a little bit more of that tomorrow. We'll get into. Let me start the weekend recap here. I got a coffee appointment that I got to get to, and look at me, I'm already late. All right, weekend recap real quick. Let's do a little bit of the weekend recap, of course, presented by the Wallace firm. Shout out to them. Thank you for being a partner. Need legal help for a serious injury? The Wallace firm are proven try lawyers. Go to wallacewins.com/Sliwa to learn more. wallacewins.com/Sliwa to learn more. He could help anybody in the state of California get a free consultation on that website. Okay, quick recap here. I'll look at a couple of comments. We'll call it a day. NBA games. How much fun was that Clippers-Warriors game yesterday? I thought that was phenomenal. Just phenomenal. We talked a little bit about it already. I still hesitate on the Clippers. Granted, they've been balling out. They've won 8 games in a row. They finished the season out very, very strong. Ivica Zubac has been phenomenal. Kawhi looks healthy. James Harden is playing like the old James Harden. But I just have my hesitations and my pauses towards the Clippers. We'll see what happens. Can they beat Denver? Sure. But Jamal Murray's got to be healthy. If Jamal Murray's healthy, I'll give the edge to Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. So we'll see what happens in that series. But just overall, great games yesterday. I know a lot of them really didn't have all that much meaning, but the ones that did really kind of set the table. If you're a Masters fan, and I'm not even a golf fan at all, but I found myself watching Rory a ton yesterday, kind of the ups and the downs. Kind of cool to see him do what he did. He wins the Masters. He gets the green jacket. He kind of completes his the chance of getting, all 4 of the majors. So he was able to do that. I think he was on an 11-year drought of not winning. So 11-year drought of not winning. I don't know if it wasn't winning a major or 11-year drought of the Masters, whatever the case was. Or this was his 11th Masters that he's been a part of. Phenomenal. Really, really cool what he was able to do. Choked a couple of times, but then won in the playoff round, and he made it happen. Last thing I'll mention. So I ran, I told you guys I had that half marathon. That was fun. Pretty cool. I hadn't done a half. I've done a half marathon before, and that was probably 8-9 years ago, something like that. So I did a half. Got to be honest with everybody. Wasn't that bad. Knock on wood here. Wasn't that bad. I ran with a buddy of mine who I've known since I was a kid or since high school. And I think because him and I just ran together the entire time, I almost felt like I was just out there for a weekend run. Definitely started feeling around mile 8. My left leg was like, hey, Sleep, what's going on here, brother? What are we doing? But got it through, got it done. Last couple of miles were tough. People are asking for time. 2 hours and 16 minutes. All right, maybe I took forever. Listen, I can only go at the pace that my body can go at. I'm not trying to, I wasn't doing it for time or anything like that. Kind of a cool little, this was the half that I ran. Kind of a cool little San Diego Beach and Bay half marathon. So that was pretty fun. I saw people passing me that were, I saw people that, what the hell's going on here? Some people, let's don't judge a book by its cover. Because there are people passing me where I'm like, damn, I'm getting torched out here. People's minds are stronger than mine. Do I do a full marathon? What's the point of doing half marathons? You going to do a full marathon or not? I don't know yet. I started looking yesterday. I started looking at some. There's a badass one in Big Sur, but that's this year, or that's coming up in, I think, the next month or so. I think you need like 4 to 6 months of training or something. Maybe 6 to 8 months. I don't know how much training that you need. Maybe I'll do a full marathon. I'm not sure yet. Not 100% sure. Okay, let's take a look at some of the comments. We're going to call it a day. Rory's round might be the greatest round he's ever played. Great learnings for the juniors I coach. Talk about the ups and downs. Just shocking how it all went down. But it was cool that he won. Michael Malone, the next Knicks coach, heard it from here. That'd be an interesting one. Yeah, you probably do very, very well with the New York Knicks. That's if Thibodeau, obviously if Thibodeau, I've heard a lot of rumblings that Thibodeau may, that one might not last. San Diego full rock and roll. Yep. I think I've done the half. I think that's the half that I done. Yeah, I got to, I think I got to get a full in. I think that's something that's kind of stuck now inside of me that, that I got to try. All right, let's see what else. Yes. Let's see what else we got here. From Dallas in the offseason, if possible. I got to see the whole scope of who's going to be available. I know the Lakers are obviously going to go after a big, but I'd like to see the whole scope before anything. All right, let's see. Last couple here, and then we're going to call it a day. We have 2 savants. We should get to the finals. Malone not going to New York. All right, you're a true Clipper hater. Okay, I'm going to let everyone just argue against each other. I give Clippers credit. They ended up a 5 seed. They had a good season without Paul George, and we'll see what happens from here. Oh, the Suns just fired their coach. Yeah, I don't know what the Suns are doing. Who cares what the Suns are doing? All right, my people, thank you very much for being part of the show. Back on tomorrow morning. Shout out to Chris McGee, Geeter, fantastic from Spectrum SportsNet for coming on. Tomorrow, I should have Dan Weike on the show as well. Back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll get with you guys tomorrow. Appreciate it. Have a great Monday.